And we have another winner. I went empty about 420 miles from New Hampshire down to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and loaded this morning. So the weight is, this is link belt 350. So the weight is just under 80,000 pounds, 79 and change. And because I have my flip axle, so it's my empty weight is 49. And actually I don't need the flip axle to be down, but it wasn't the way, you know, when we try to put the, you know, I wanted to keep the boom as low as possible. And right now I'm 13.6. And we just used one board in here, right? For this boom to clear the lift axle over there, we'd have to put like one of my big blocks, and I didn't want to do that, you know, for simple reason that then my permits would be too expensive, you know, and they would send me on some detours and stuff like that. What's funny is that I asked the broker who I got this load from, I said, do you know if they want me to use outriggers? Because some companies, they will not load you unless you have outriggers for certain machines. And this one is kind of like gray area. You can use outriggers, or maybe because see the middle of the track is right here. So you only need to use outriggers when it's over here. If half of the track sits on the machine, you don't need them. But it's always safer. And since I got rid of my heavy boards, I asked the broker to call in and ask, because these guys, it's a pretty big company and they have all kinds of timbers in there, and they can cut them, you know. And they said $3 per foot, you know, hardwood. I said, hey, geez, how much can I get, you know, because that's a, last time I got mine, I paid 250 Canadian for two 12-foot long boards, and then I cut them because they were just too heavy, so I cut them in, I had 4 6-footers. And this time I decided to even make them small. I said, I'll buy 4 5-footers, see? And so the 5-footer, they just sit on 3 outriggers. You know, you don't need to put them specifically under the entire track, you know, like this helps. And because to make it long enough to go on the other one, you probably have to be even more than 6. Yeah, 6 will be too short, you know, and then it becomes heavy. And so I got these 2 boards, and then on the way out, they have a scale right there, so I saved money on the timbers, and I saved money on the scale because the scale was free. But when the flip was sitting over there and the machine is already here, right? The guy loaded the machine, and we tried different positions, and I say, okay, let's drop it down. Can you do it, or you want me to do it? Because I did it before with the excavator. And the guy says, I'm not sure we're supposed to do it like that. I said, what do you mean? Like there's a D-ring on the end of the flip, right? Like, you know, the flip was already here, like the 2 pins were connected, and there's a D-ring right here. I said, I can just put that chain over here and we'll hook it up. We'll hook it up somewhere over there. It just takes 2 seconds, right? But it's a brand new machine, so they refused to do it. They said no, you know. Like this was me, I would just put it in here, you know, somewhere there. So they said no, we gotta use a forklift. So the guy comes in with a forklift. I said, are your forks long enough to reach over and I'll put a chain on it? And he says, oh, that's not how we do it. I said, oh, really? How do you do it? He says, we put forks under the tires, and then we just, you know, go back and we start lowering it. And I said, well, I cannot connect the tires. I cannot connect the hoses. See, like those hoses over there? Like on some trailers, when the flip is up, you can connect them. But mine is because I have this, special shape for the boom, right? It's too much. The hole is too big. Like when the flip is up, the hoses do not reach those ports, which means that the wheels are blocked. The wheels do not turn. And so I asked this guy, I said, okay, you're gonna put your forks under my tires and then you're gonna go back. And I said, the tires don't spin, so you don't want to put a scratch on your excavator, but you're okay dragging my tires on your forks. Oh, well, that's how we do it. I said, okay, let me see how you do it. Just go like 1 foot slowly. And he started lowering. Actually, it was pretty good. He put his fork, his big forklift. So he just puts 1 fork in here under this tire, 1 fork under the other one, and then he starts going back and slowly starts lowering it, and it's really safe, except that the tires are, go like this. But his forks, of course, are, polished like steel. So it just went maybe like 2 feet, But anyway, so I had to do it like that, and so I saved money on the timbers. I saved money on the scale, but they got me with the flip. It was 75 bucks. 75 bucks US. And I said, guys, can I at least maybe get some kind of a discount, because I just paid you $60 for the timbers, like I'm a good customer, right? I'm giving you money, so can we do something about this? No. I said, well, I could have done it with the excavator, right? Not here. So they don't want you to use the machine in their yard to flip it. So that's a good lesson for me, basically. I had to pay it, so I had to pay it. I had to drop it because, yeah, you see, like my spacing is 60 inches, right? So that one, imagine, like it goes like this. It was, it was right here. That rubber was here, you see. So it's clearly, if you want to put the boom really low, it's not gonna work. So you gotta, so now I'm like an idiot riding on 8 axles, and of course everybody thinks that I'm super heavy, whereas it's only 79,000 pounds. And so yeah, I tied up the boom. I put a strap in here first, and then I drove 30 miles and stopped, decided to check everything, and right away I saw that the strap had a cut. Somehow these things that I put under over there, they disappeared, they got loose, and the strap, just because this is sharp, right, and the strap just was damaged. I had to throw my strap. 10 bucks. Let's put the chain. So the chain is better. I found a couple of timbers over there, so we're good. Nothing is scratching. And then, in case somebody's wondering why I put this in, because without this gear was touching the track, and the binder refused to turn, right? And so I got 8 chains, and on this one, of course, normally I would love to use those holes in there, but the angle is all wrong, like I cannot go in here. It's too long. It has to be 45 degrees, otherwise it's useless. And some Russian guy over there comes over and says, Sergei. Yeah, and I saw him before, like one of the guys over there, he's formerly from Russia. He says, you cannot put, why are you not using those? I said, that's why, because the angle it's not gonna work. I said, trust me, I do this for a living. And he says, you cannot put a chain over there in the hole in there. So he wanted me to somehow take a chain and put in there, I said, no. That's my trailer, okay? I'm not gonna damage my trailer. Oh, okay. I said, don't worry about it. I said, everything will be all right. So anyway, so that's the machine. So 79,000 pounds. and the truck was pulling pretty good. So I did have to reduce the height in the back, my ride height. But the thing is, one thing I learned with the flip is that I cannot go low, because then there's not enough pressure over here, because it's so far. So you need to go, see, I dropped it by one hole. Instead of 5, that position 5, I did position 4. And on the front, I'm like position 3. And I asked him about the mirrors. I said, so where's the mirrors? And they said, oh, there's a box behind. Because always check. Because then you come to the consignee and he says, what happened to the mirrors? And I'm like, no idea, but now I know. And of course, see, that's big thing over there. The center is the center of gravity. And so I put it straight above my light. And when I checked when I went on the scale, I thought I had a ticket somewhere here, but anyways, I'm like perfect. Like the front was at 12,100, then the 3 axles with the pusher were something like 51 or something, and then the rear was just under, I think the rear was like 57,000, all 4 axles. And because it was so long, the lady had to kind of like split me, like I went with 2 front axles and then 2 rear ones, and then she added everything. Like, very cool. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. So I have load number 2. So heading to Canada, and got the money for the first load. So the factoring company came through. So I was able to get fuel at $2.65 a gallon in New Hampshire, which sounds pretty good, except that 2 days before, when I parked at the truck stop, it was $2.61. But I had no money. I had to wait for the transfer, and the transfer took 3 hours. They sent me my money by wire, and I was checking my bank, US bank, boom, 3 hours, the wire is there. It charged me $15. Works. So now I have money for fuel, I have money for permits, I have money for emergencies, and then I'll use factoring again when I deliver this thing. And so yeah, I'm going basically around Chicago, towards Ontario, but not where I live, but the western part, the farthest part of Ontario, right next to what is it, Minnesota, over there, Pigeon River crossing. So that's where I'm going, and working on another load. Go back into US. So basically I told the broker, I said, I'm not stopping till the end of the year. I said, I'm Russian, I don't celebrate Christmas, so I just started. I need to build my cash flow, so give me all the work you can find, And as you can see, so I'm carrying my flip with me all the time, so I'm ready for heavy loads. And this other one I was talking to this guy about, it's something similar in weight. It's like 80,000 pounds, and everything's good. And one other news is that my Ontario annual permit is finally approved. I got an email this morning saying that my dear Mr. Dratchev, the credit card you provided was declined. Oh boy, the life of a trucker. And I have money, but I'm in the States, right? And the card I gave her is my Canadian visa, and there's zero money in there right now. And I tried to use this, what they call cross-border banking, like I told you guys before, right? So I opened an account in my bank, the one I have money in Canada, and they have this American bank. So it's not the same bank, but it's the same name, but one is a U.S. bank and it's a U.S. company, and the other one is a Canadian company. So it's two separate entities, right? But still, it makes life easier for people like me who travel between two countries. And basically, they use voice recognition software to confirm your identity. And you can hear that my voice is still not like my regular voice. And so I call them. They cannot verify my identity. I call them. I said, I need to transfer money from US to Canada, which is, they have a procedure for that, because that's what I wanted to do. I knew that this annual permit in Ontario was about to be approved, because it's been a while since they got my application, and they said 15 business days. And so I wanted to transfer money to my visa in Canada. And the cross-border lady says, we cannot verify your voice, Mr. Dratchev. We have to ask you a few security questions. And they start asking me like really weird questions, like some CIA stuff, like what's the building number, what was the building number of the apartment building where you lived, like 20 years ago. No, I'm kidding, not 20 years ago, but like I used to have an apartment in Guelph in a condo building, and they said, what was the building number of that apartment building? And they give me like 3 or 4 options. So I'm pretty sure I gave them the right one, and then they say, okay, what other products you have, all this stuff, like security questions, but some of them were really confusing, and they give you a set of 3 or 4 answers you're supposed to pick from. And so she did 3 questions. I gave her 3 answers, and I'm like in sound mind, I'm sober, right? Very important. Gotta do these ID confirmations when you're sober, 100%. And I was sober, I don't drink on the job, right? And she says, I'm sorry, but you failed. What? And I'm like thinking, no, that's the building number. I know, I lived there for freaking 3 years. That's the building number. That's the other question she asked me about the loan, which bank is my loan with. And she says, and actually I cannot tell you which question was wrong, because the computer will not tell me for security reasons. It just says one of the answers is wrong, but I cannot tell you which one. So I said, okay, so what are we doing now? Oh, now when you are back in Canada, because I told them, I said, I'm traveling in the States. That's the whole point. I need to transfer money. Like, why did they bother with this account? That was the point. If I get money in the States, I want to move them to Canada. And so first my voice, failed, right? My voice recognition. And then these answers. And so she says, when you're back in Canada, you have to go to your Canadian branch of our bank and show them your IDs, so that they can verify that you are you, and then this cross-border thing will be active for you again. So basically now I cannot use it. I cannot transfer money. And so this nice lady from Ministry of Transportation of Ontario emails me, says, so what would you like us to do? Your card does not work. You have a way of moving some money from somewhere, or you want us to wait? Because they said we can wait about up to 2 weeks. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. So I moved a couple of $100, and then called them. I said, ask for that lady who sent me the email. I said, can you please try again? If it doesn't work, then let's just wait till I'll be in Ontario Monday, Tuesday, and I have cash. I just have to find a bank over there, my bank, and my bank is a pretty big bank. They have branches everywhere in Ontario, in Canada, and said, I'll just go and drop that money, or I can give you my US card. That probably should work too, because it's a Visa. But for the new card, you cannot just give them the card over the phone. You have to fill out a special form. Like, honestly, one thing about this setup where you're independent is there's like unending flow of forms you have to fill out and sign, and Of course, when it's a signature we're talking about, you have to print it out. And so I couldn't take it anymore. Like that, another form for this, I said, no, you know what? Let's try this card. No big deal, you know, because I cannot pick up this annual permit anyway, because it's in St. Catharines, or they can mail it to my home in Cambridge, my home base. So like, we're still ordering trip permits now for Ontario, right? Because I'm going into Ontario. And these annual permits, you cannot use it, even though it's issued now. I cannot use it unless I have it. I have a physical copy inside my truck. You know, so let's say I pick up this other load, going into US, and if part of my travel, and it's oversized, part of my travel will be through Ontario, I still have to order a one-time trip permit, you know, for Ontario, even though my annual is issued, and I paid $440 Canadian. So, but yeah, that's how it works. They say you must have the paper original inside your truck. But at least now it worked. So she tried while we were on the phone. She tried that card again. It worked. And so at least that one is good, because you know, Ontario, Canada, usually they're very slow when you're asking them for a trip permit. And so I'm very happy that now I have the annual. And she says because she's mailing it, I wanted to pick it up myself, but I'm not there, right? If I was there, I would just drive in my car and pick it up. They're in St. Catharines, Ontario, like 1 hour away from Cambridge. But I said, I'm not there, so just could you please mail it, you know, to my mailing address. And so that's what they're doing. And she says, since I'm mailing it, she says I can change the effective date so that you don't lose time. She says, what date would you like to put for me to put on the on the permit, you know, because if it starts, let's say today, but I will not have it until like 2 weeks, then I'll just lost 2 weeks out of the year that I'm paying $440 Canadian for it. And I said, why don't you put November 10? Today is November 2, so hopefully by November 10, if I have the second load, maybe I'll go through Ontario and I'll just stop in Cambridge and pick it up, you know. So this is it. This is the exciting life of an independent trucker. And one other thing is that permits are such a hassle. You know, I'm still having trouble with some DOT agencies in like various states, because a lot of them want you to fill out again a special form. Why is that? I don't want to show that those logos, you know, because sometimes YouTube doesn't like it when you show logos of other people, and then they refuse to pay me money for the video. So anyway, I never knew about this, but I found a permit service, right? And I said, okay, you can help me with permits. And then she starts sending me all these forms again, where I'm supposed to, and the forms are really stupid. It just asks me for company name, mailing address. Like, these permit companies can do it all themselves, because I send them all this information, right? I said, here's my company name, here's my DOT number, MC number, but no, she sends me this blank form, which I have to print out, put all this stupid stuff in, and send it. And what this form is for is she cannot just go and order a permit, let's say from no, Michigan was fine. I think it was some of them don't care about this, but some of them require you to kind of like pre-register. You know, they must have your information on file so that the permit company can order the permit. Otherwise they say, okay, who's Sergei Dratchev? Who the heck is this guy? We don't have him on our computer, you know. And so I did probably, I don't know, 10 or probably I did about 10 forms like that. And the worst so far is Ohio, because normally all these states, they just ask for, you know, this permit with some very simple information, just repetitive stuff, you know, DOT number, MC number, company name, DBA, trade name, your address, contact person, name, okay, company name, Sergei Dratchev, contact person name, Sergei Dratchev. But Ohio wants not just that, but they send us a special form. I think it's called OS 32 or UC 32, something like that. Basically, I cannot fill it out. I have to send it to my broker. The customs broker, has to forward it to the insurance company, and the actual insurance company, the big boys, they have to fill out kind of like the representative of the insurance company name, signature, just basically to confirm that I have insurance. They don't trust me. I cannot just send them a certificate of insurance. And that takes, the insurance guy says, I said, so where is it? I sent it to you at 4 o'clock yesterday. Of course, I knew that he would not do anything yesterday, and then I checked with him this morning. He said, yeah, sent to the insurance company. And they're still working on it. So because of that, my permit lady keeps sending me messages. She checks on the Ohio DOT website, and she checks my my DOT number, MC number, and now it's after 5, and she sent me last message was like 4:45. She says, you're still not there. You're still not. My company still does not show on their computer on the Ohio DOT. Because of that, she cannot order permits. And so now I'm in Pennsylvania, and this time I'm trying to bypass all the tolls. So no tolls this time, and I did like a loop. So now I'm on I-80, and tomorrow I can drive probably 2 more hours, maybe 2.5 hours, and the next state is Ohio. So they want this big machine over there. They said Monday, Tuesday, if possible, and I said, well, I'll do my best, but it's not up to me. It's all about permits now. Like so far I have 2 permits. I have Pennsylvania was issued yesterday, because you need like this place, like many other places, they want to see the local state permit before they let you load the machine. So this was Pennsylvania, so they will not allow you to load unless you show them the Pennsylvania permit. And so I got this yesterday. And today, this morning I had to send again 2 of those forms for Indiana and I think Wisconsin, just to register with the DOT on the computer. But at least those were easier. Just again, I filled out my own information, sign it, send it. Okay, and now she was able to order. She got Indiana. So now I got Pennsylvania, I got Indiana. I don't have Ohio, so I cannot go to Indiana. And then I will need Illinois. I will need Minnesota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then Ontario. So not sure how it's gonna work. The freight broker might not be too happy, but unfortunately there's nothing I can do, because I only learned about this Ohio thing yesterday, right around like, I don't know, 12 o'clock, but I had to drive to get to the shipper. And so yeah, I sent everything to the broker at 4, and it's still not done, right? And so tomorrow's Friday, so even if they issue this stuff, and the insurance company, they have to send it directly to the Ohio DOT. Like there was a fax number, I think there was an email address there, so they have to send it there. So even if the Ohio guys get it, let's say around lunchtime, I doubt it highly that they will have time to issue the permit for this trip. So the worst thing that can happen is that I can be stuck at the end of Pennsylvania waiting for the Ohio permit. And that's the bureaucracy with these oversized loads, the paperwork, and I'm trying to drive, and they all call me and email me, oh, we need this now. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna stop on the side of the road, and I'll start printing out this stuff like what do you want me to do? You know, I have to get away. Oh, because there's of course there's curfews, right? I have to leave the Harrisburg and that area and that Shamokin Dam before, what was it, 4 o'clock? Yeah, otherwise there's a curfew, you know. So basically, when you're all by yourself, it's kind of like, you know, it's not easy because you have to juggle all these different tasks, right? I have to deal with permits. You know, when you have a dispatcher or you have a wife or a girlfriend who's helping you, you know, when you're driving, somebody can help you out. So, but that's why they pay us the big bucks, you know. That's why I keep all the money. And I don't mind this extra responsibility. I just, you know, I'm getting used to it. But once all these DOT agencies have that form where I'm set up on the computer, should be okay, you know. I have a blank form for the permit company. When I have a load like this, I just, you know, put in my truck, my VIN number, my plates already in there. I just have to say, you know, how much the load weighs, and then what states I need permits for, and what's the routing I'm trying to get on. And then if they don't want me there, the DOT of this particular state, they will suggest their own routing, right? So just one form, and that's why it's good to use a permit company. I just send her this, like, permit request, and she starts ordering them. So it just takes now, like, the initial stage where you have to set up with all these DOT, you know, in different states, but after that it should be easier. So that's just a glimpse for you guys what it's like, and that's the difference compared to when I was an owner operator. Like, the dispatcher was taking care of the permits and the border crossing. Now border crossing is also my responsibility, but it's not that difficult, right? I have all these stickers, so when I'm somewhere, I know I have the customs invoice, I know who the customs broker is. When I'm about 1 day away from the border, I'll just slap the sticker on, invoice, send it to the customs broker, and then I do my thing on the website. Just prepare the e-manifest, print it out. Actually, you know, that I was really scared of that thing, of the border crossing procedure. Turns out it's much easier than I thought, and I have no idea how the previous company was able to mess it up pretty much every second time when I was crossing the border. And if you remember, once when I was going to California, I was sent back 2 times, and then only 3rd time I was able to cross the border. Why? Human error, right? So I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna have that, because this website I'm using, it's actually telling me the status of my paperwork. I will never go to the border where it says basically not ready, and that's what happened with the previous company all the time. I go there, I go to the border, and they say paperwork not on file. You know, whereas now this website, I'm using a different company, and it's free because I don't have that many shipments. Up to 40 shipments a month is free. And this website is like amazing, very simple to use. It remembers all your loads. It knows my truck, my trailer. You know, like, I just indicate what truck I'm using. It's right there, the trailer, the driver, me. And then I just create a shipment, do like description, weight, if there's any codes, just take them from the customs invoice. And so what's funny is that I thought that this would be the most difficult part of this trucking mega $1,000,000 operation. But that one was easy. What now is bugging me is these permits, you know, permits. So I'm really happy that finally I have the Ontario annual permit. This really gonna save me a lot of stress. And so now we just have to wait for this Ohio thing, and hopefully I'll pray that I will get the rest of the permits tomorrow, and somehow I can truck over the weekend to make, you know, the buyer of this machine happy Monday or Tuesday probably, and deliver. But I'm not too worried, because the other load, I don't have a deadline. The other load that's coming out of the same town going into US, It's not ready yet. They're still, I checked with the other broker, they said they're still working on some customs paperwork, you know, and I said, okay, just let me know, I'm interested in that one. I'm going to the same town, you know, when you guys are ready. I should be there Monday, Tuesday, and then I can do that one. Yeah, that would be perfect, you know. Okay, what else to tell you guys and gals? So yeah, I'm just using a load board, and I signed up with Landstar as a carrier. I can do their loads, and they can call me because I'm in their system now. And I was trying to set up with a big forwarder, with a big shipping company, but they want too much insurance, cargo insurance, like almost twice what I have now, you know. And I talked to my broker. I said, any idea how high my monthly premiums will be if I increase cargo insurance by this much, you know? And I still haven't gotten an answer, so I'm not sure if I'll get an agreement with that other company. I'll know next week, but if I do, then I can get much more loads without having to use my load board, you know. And I think it's always best to use big companies. And that's one thing I learned, is that when you are independent, you have to sign, each time you deal with a broker, with a freight broker, you have to sign an agreement, and you have to send them a certificate of insurance with their name at the bottom there. So I have to contact the insurance company, and they have to issue my certificate of insurance, but at the bottom it says certificate holder, and it's pre-printed the name of this freight broker. So it's not like I can take a certificate and just email it to them. No, I have to contact insurance company. It doesn't take long, but still, and then you need a contract. So if I use a freight broker, like a different freight broker for each shipment, that's just a lot of BS, you know, a lot of paperwork, lots of all these agreements. And so that's why I think for a single operator like me with one truck, one trailer, it pays to deal with one big company, you know, like Landstar, right? So now I sign up with Landstar, I can do their loads, and I only did one agreement, and now they have my certificate of insurance. So next time I do a load for them, I don't have to do it again, you know. Just call the agent and say, hey, here's my MC number, I'm approved carrier, and we go from there, you know. Beautiful. So it's much faster, easier, and also, even though I'm set up with a factoring company, you know, Landstar has a quick pay, so they can give you money within 2 days. So those are just some comments, you know, some of my feelings, what I see different compared to being an owner operator. I hope you guys didn't fall asleep during this blockbuster. And so load number 2. Hopefully load number 3 will not take too long to get, and I won't have to do as much deadhead as I had to get to this one. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. More to come. Sergei Dratchev, Heavy Haul out.